let's talk about this whole Sandy thing because this has been stunning. Apparently today they've now managed to pass in the House $9 billion, I guess 15% of what has been requested and was passed via the Senate. And I know, I guess this has to go back to the Senate now to just get that $9 billion. This came after Christie got up there and surprise, realized that there was a cold indifference to suffering by the Republican Party, and Mumbles King from Long Island, taking time off from his chasing the Muslim Brotherhood, threw a fit, and then came back and said, actually, Boner's a really good guy.
Yeah, well, he's ticked off because there are some non-Muslim-y poor people who are in his district and could affect his political future that he cares about. I actually just wrote a column on the whole thing because it's sort of amazing to me. It kind of ties into the stuff that I've written about, when you see sort of someone like Wayne LaPierre frothing at the mouth, like he did on TV on the gun stuff, how these guys, unless they actually are ever sort of victimized by something, it seems that really the definition of a conservative is as long as it's happening to somebody else, it's okay. Right. And that's exactly right. I mean, Peter King, he just, I love the line. I mean, I'm glad, his righteous fury at the Republicans, obviously they deserved it, but a little bit rich coming from him. I mean, it's amazing to sort of sit there and listen to him, talk about leaving people out. And I think he said leaving people freezing and hungry. Those aren't Republican values. And my response was, actually, that is.
Right.
I mean, I think that's on your party platform.
Well, the amazing thing is that, Christie also, had this whole thing about how, we shouldn't try and we shouldn't make people who have suffered innocently pay the price. But somehow, as if it's a natural disaster, is somehow sort of separated out from something like was hit by a car or got cancer or simply was born into a situation not of their own making. I mean, there's plenty of other instances. Even if you have to maintain this notion of, well, if you made a mistake when you were 25 and took the wrong career path and didn't go to college or took the wrong major and you end up having no Social Security, no retirement fund, that's your problem. If you never bought health insurance, that's your problem. But even if you filter that part out, there's still a whole wide array of people who theoretically you would hope would be considered innocent victims in some respect.
Yeah, well, this goes back to sort of the oldest kind of what's the right way to put it? The oldest kind of demarcation, segregation, I'm not sure what the right word is, of our republic, which is the deserving poor versus the undeserving poor. And for whatever reason, the Republican definition of it is sort of we know, I guess, what the reason is. What they've become is, of course, the most right-wing, insane definition where it's sort of fused with hatred and paranoia and resentment, where they always assume if it's anybody different than them, that whoever it is the undeserving poor.
Right.
The people who cheered, when Ron Paul essentially said if some guy on a motorcycle crashed in his 30s and didn't have health insurance, we should let him die by the side of the road. You know what I mean? That's the mentality. And even though I was glad that Christie did the right thing when the hurricane hit too, I had the same reaction when that was going on, when that whole thing was going on, which is he was so angry about, oh my God, these people and the devastation I've seen. Well, why don't you go to some of the rural areas and inner city areas and other places where there's devastation because of the policies that you and your friends support all the time? Why doesn't Peter King take a look back through his voting record, which if you do, you will find there was a great piece, I can't remember who it was by, Daily Kos the other day, listing all the times he's voted against supplemental, nutritional bills and all sorts of other things for kids to not. Is it better when kids go to sleep at night hungry because of the family they were born into?
Right.
That's not just as offensive as someone who gets hit by a hurricane. It's sort of it fits very well with the opposite side of that too, which you have a bunch of these goofy, either, got lucky and became billionaires because they lucked into it, or because they were lucked into the family they were born into, kind of like every one of the Republican Party's most recent nominees, who somehow think they earned it. That's the opposite side of it. Well, obviously, it was their genius that did it.
Right.
It wasn't the Romney name or the McCain name or the Bush name that did it. It was just their unbelievably stunning genius that got them to where they are. And that's what's so sort of offensive about all of this. And I was related to this. I was reading this piece in the Hill about Senator Mark Kirk from Illinois, who people may be familiar with his case. And he's okay. He's a little bit, as Republicans go, he's probably the most moderate Republican in the Senate, and was one of the more moderate ones in the House. But again, you have to think of what you're comparing that to. He still has voted for plenty of bad bills, has excluded and discriminated against plenty of people, has ignored plenty of people, didn't obviously support, didn't support Obamacare, and it was all about he had a stroke. He's only, I think, in his mid-40s, late 40s, and he had a stroke, and he spent most of the last year recuperating. Mm-hmm. First of all, the guy's damn lucky he has a job where he keeps getting paid when he has a stroke for a year.
Yeah, there's not many other jobs where you can take that year leave, basically, not show up.
Not many others, meaning none.
Right.
Right? So he gets to do that, keep his full benefits, all the stuff that people in the private sector have asked for, and these guys block forever. But taking that aside, he actually came out now, and again, I'll give him a little credit the way I give Peter King a little credit, and I could give Christie a little credit. But if you don't look at the broader issue, he came out and he said, well, now, I understand, I have more of an understanding of the problems with Medicaid. And, with the rehabilitation I had to go through to come back from this stroke, Medicaid would have only paid for 11 rehabilitation sessions, and I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am today if I only could have had that. And it's like, good, I'm glad you realized that, but why did it have to happen to you for you to realize that? Don't you people read books? Don't you live in this world? Don't you see things, learn about things? Can you only understand different people's plights if you actually experience them yourselves? Does the hurricane have to hit you? Do you have to have a stroke? Do your kids have to be shot in the high school before you become people that understand that these issues affect people and the government has a role in protecting, as it says in the Constitution, for the general welfare? What does it take? And that to me, this is like, to sum it up, this is being conservative.
Yeah, it goes beyond too. I think just look, I can't understand the plight of a whole myriad of people in our society, but it really is a fundamental decision whether or not you're going to give other human beings the benefit of the doubt. Where you're ultimately going to say, this notion of like, look, I don't know what it feels like to have a decreased job opportunities because of the color of my skin. I don't know what it is, or because of my gender, let's say, or I don't know what it is to have certain disadvantages because of the area code I was born in or the zip code I was born in. I don't know what it's like to have disadvantages because my parents were not educated, or I don't know. And it's quite possible there are some people in some areas that are gaming the system. But at the end of the day, I've got to make a decision. Am I going to give those people the benefit of the doubt and say I'm willing to allow for some people who who willfully made bad decisions or are, trying to get away with getting more food stamps instead of working, whatever it is, whatever those fantasies are that right-wingers have. But give the benefit of the doubt to the majority of those people who are in a situation that I really can't imagine and say, they're deserving of help. That is the point of society, is to help those people.
Right, and that's sort of the key thing is no. There are certain things that until they happen to you, you can't 100% know what that's like. I'm not saying you can and I can, but also I think it's having a broad enough sort of understanding of the world, a broad enough interest in the world and interest in people to look around and say, this kind of thing could happen to me. Could have happened to me. I'm not special. I'm not some person that was ordained to be born and lucky in my current circumstances. That this could have happened to me before, and frankly, it could happen to me tomorrow. And it's also being able to look at other people that have fallen into these circumstances due to no fault of their own, or at least to go into it with the assumption that it was not their fault.
And I think
I'm
it also
not claiming there's nobody out there that abuses welfare. I'm not claiming there's nobody out there, that are bad people that want government assistance. But I would tell you that, actually, I know there are a lot of bad people out there that want government assistance. They're called the defense industry, Wall Street,
right.
all sorts of people. But the pittance that maybe the few people, and I've run into them. Frankly, I've run into people who I know who are happy, along the way here and there, like, yeah, I'll just take that government money and do whatever with it. But when you compare that to the broad number of people that money helps, to sit there and sort of say that to act like those few, the exception, are the rule, is sickening, frankly.
And I think
it's accusatory.
You also have to have a concept that your perspective and your life is not indicative of everyone else's life, and that your perspective is limited by the fact that you've lived a specific life. I mean, that's what seems to be there seems to be some type of mental block there for these people. I mean, to the extent that they're being sincere, I mean, I guess if a guy like Kirk can come back from this and say, well, I have a new perspective on things. Well, that's fine, but why did you assume that your perspective was so rock solid before?